Oh, yeah. Five-star. LSU. I said, they ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU, huh? They ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU. We the best in the league if you looking for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going out to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up, hey. 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 Way down in the back.
TA, we are live. Welcome to this edition of the Tigers Avenue Show. Obviously, we're going to be discussing this episode, what transpired in LSU's game versus South Alabama. A great win for the Tigers. I think kind of what the fans have been wanting and what we've been waiting for, right? And we got that this weekend, and we'll discuss the details of that. Obviously, we got a bye week this week, so we'll kind of discuss the things going on during this bye week and what that looks like. And obviously, you know, how do you get through a bye week? What do you do to get through a bye week? I think I know how I'll get through my bye week.
Rick, I don't know if you saw it, but Braden Swinson tweeted, or X'd. I don't know. I don't know anymore.
I still say tweet.
But he tweeted a GIF, and it said something on like waiting for October 12th, like ... And it was just like a man just sitting there like crying.
He's ready. He's ready.
October 12th can't get here sooner. Something like that. It was funny.
Yes. Obviously, pumped for October 12th. Going to be a fantastic game. Obviously, we'll talk about that in the future. But October 12th is going to be awesome. And then, of course, we'll give you our around the college football scoop. And, buddy, is there some things to talk about?
Some great games.
The college football world, specifically in relation to LSU. Some huge things that developed this past weekend. But first, obviously, to discuss LSU versus South Alabama. Zach, this was a game where you're looking at it and you're going, God, this team scored 135, say it again, 135 points the previous two games before this LSU game. And you're going, ugh, right? Because of how our defense just has kind of been lackluster, how at times we kind of start slowing games, and you're thinking, golly, we're going to go to halftime with South Alabama, and it's going to be like a one-score game. It's going to be tight, blah, blah, blah. And here we go again. And you're going, please, Lord, let us don't get upset by South Alabama in our own stadium. But this was the game that we've been waiting for. This is what we wanted, probably the most complete game. And I think could even been better than what it was. I think they really wanted it to be. It could have been even better. But LSU dominates. And Zach finally covers the spread, beating South Alabama 42-10.
Cover the spread! Let's go.
Finally beat it. You finally covered the spread, as you should have. It was an inferior opponent, and you should have covered the spread. Tigers win 42-10. Zach, clearly, by and large, I don't think anybody would question this. The story of the game is Caden Durham. I mean, holy cow, right? Like, just burst onto the scene. He is, like, becoming the guy at the running back position. Obviously, they took him out second half. We do have kind of an injury report for that, and we'll talk about that. But Zach, he's the one who, we were like, oh, are we going to start slow again? How's it going to look? Caden Durham made sure you didn't get started slow. I mean, literally first game play from scrimmage, he gets a pass right out in the flats and takes it to the house. And you saw the track speed that Caden Durham has, made a guy miss, got upfield, down the sideline. Nobody was catching him. Nobody was catching him. A huge score right off the jump. LSU goes out, 3 and out for South Alabama. You get the ball back. And then he rips off the huge run for 86 yards or something like that.
Yeah, he got down at the 1.
Yeah, just a little bit ran out of gas there at the end and got down at the 1. I was kind of hoping he'd get in, but he ended up getting another touchdown anyway, so it's okay. But down at the 1, right, and man, within 3 offensive plays, you're up 14-0, and the Tigers never looked back. It was everything you wanted it to be as an LSU fan.
For these games, it was a boring game, and that's what you want.
It was a boring game, and that's okay, and that's what you want it to be. It's like a practice game, essentially, for LSU. And it essentially, it's not a bye week, obviously, but it's essentially like a scrimmage game. So you kind of have 3 weeks to prepare for Ole Miss the way the schedule lays out. So you really like what you saw from Caden Durham. He just continues to be awesome. But with that in mind, Caden Durham obviously did come out of the game. He was limping. Everybody was kind of concerned. I thought maybe he had a high ankle sprain the way he was acting. And come to find out, he dislocated 2 toes. Not very.
That sounds pretty painful.
That sounds horrible.
I just think about last night. I was walking around the bed, stubbed my toe right there at the corner of the bed, and that was awful. That was terrible. We know, right? Everybody should know. You stub your toe, it's terrible. If you're a parent, you get up in the middle of the night, you go to get something to drink, you got kids, you step on a Lego, just not fun. Just not fun at all. So I imagine it wasn't fun for Caden either.
Obviously, yeah. Somehow or another, I don't know how you do that, but maybe somebody stepped on his foot but dislocated 2 toes. Here's the deal.
Miles Frazier fell on him, and that's how he did it.
Yeah, that's true. Here's the deal. Against UCLA, Jordan Gilbert dislocated his shoulder. They popped it back into place. He went out there and played the rest of the game.
Yeah.
In reality, Caden Durham probably could have popped those toes back in place and gone back in there and played. But it just wasn't worth it. There was no need to at that point, right? The dude literally put up by himself 128, over 200 yards of offense by himself, 2 touchdowns, and the game was out of reach. There's just no need for him to come back in. I think ultimately he will be ready. He'll be ready for Ole Miss. That's what I'm saying. I don't think there's a major concern there, Zach. But
yeah,
my point is, Zach, Caden Durham was the star of the game. Here's one other thing, Zach, that I want to point out from this game, and then I'll kind of let you go into I'll kind of let you go to the details of the game, break it down, whatnot, what you saw. Zach, the emergence of Aaron Anderson has been fantastic, and it's something that we needed, and I don't want it to go unnoticed. Aaron Anderson's emergence has been crucial for LSU. Currently, Aaron Anderson outside of, I don't know. In your receiving core, Aaron Anderson's the leading receiver. Mason Taylor doesn't have more yards than him, does he? I don't think.
I got you.
Yeah, back me up on that. I don't think
Aaron Anderson's the leading receiver. He's got 300.
He's the leading receiver. Kyron's right behind him. Pretty sure Aaron Anderson has 371 and Kyron has 358, right?
Yeah.
So, Kyron and Aaron are on pace to be, they're like borderline close to being
1,000-yard receivers.
1,000-yard receivers on the year, which is fantastic, dude. Which is fantastic. Kyron obviously has 5 touchdowns, and Aaron has 2. I just so excited for Aaron Anderson, and it makes me really thrilled about the potential of getting him back. Like Aaron Anderson probably will come back for another season, and him being and emerging as kind of the number 1 guy next year. And dude, I mean, he might emerge and just be the number 1 guy this year alongside Kyron Lacy. That's okay. But man, both of them are having success. Kyron had Kyron had another great game. He had 107 yards receiving. It wasn't like he didn't have a good game, but Aaron had another, game of 73 yards. He probably would have been he would have been the second leading receiver on the team, but Caden Durham, with the first play of the game, kind of blew the stat sheet open a little bit.
Yeah.
But 6 catches, 73 yards, another touchdown. He's been fantastic, Zach. He really, really has, and I just don't want to overlook that. I don't want to overlook that. He deserves the props. And Zach, he's your leading receiver right now. He's just been awesome. And I'm really excited to see how the season will unfold for him. And just the prospect of him coming back for another season, I'm excited for Aaron Anderson. So with that being said, I kind of want to say those 2 things. Zach, what did you see from the game? What did you like? What did you not like? What did we learn from this game?
Well, I was really interested to see how LSU would respond without Harold Perkins. I think a lot of people were, and it's been discussed. But Whit Weeks had a phenomenal game. He played really well. He was flying around the ball, and obviously you hate it for Harold Perkins being out, but I think that in this situation, it's going to open up some opportunities for other guys to really emerge and showcase their skill set. And Whit Weeks did that against South Alabama. Again, it's South Alabama. We'll see, if he continues to be dominant throughout SEC play, as that's what we have left. Nothing but SEC games the rest of the way. So, I was really impressed to see that. I thought Greg Penn played really well. I think the defensive front continues to play very well. They've really surprised a lot of us. Excel expectations.
Yeah.
And you were able to get a bunch of young guys in there again and prep and see kind of, who are the guys that we're going to rely on in 2 weeks when we go up against Ole Miss at home. And you can't disregard those opportunities that the young guys have gotten, especially here in these first 5 games.
No doubt.
And so now you're able to, I think the staff will be able to determine, as we head into the thick of SEC play with Ole Miss looming, hey, these are our guys. These are the guys that are going to play. And so I thought the defense played really well. And again, Reagan, you mentioned, it was an offense that had put up a ton of points. And obviously there was a little bit of a worry there. Will this be a close game? Is LSU on upset alert? And they put that to bed, and the defense was phenomenal. Outside of the one drive there in the second half, the defense was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I thought Garrett looked really good. I do understand, the frustration with the 2 interceptions, and that was kind of concerning. But wouldn't you much rather have it happen against South Alabama than in 2 weeks against Ole Miss? You'd much rather have it now against South Alabama where you can go look at film, go look at what went wrong, the read that he made, and make corrections there. And obviously, we saw Brian Kelly. He got into him. He chewed him out there on the sideline.
Yeah. Honestly, Zach, I think it was a bit of like hey, focus back in here. Like,
yeah.
I really think, what some people have said is accurate, that like he just maybe kind of got caught up in the game. The game was over, started forcing some things and just trying to make things happen. And
trying to stat pad probably a little bit.
You're right. I just don't think against Ole Miss that's happening. Any other team, and
the first one, it's been discussed. There was guys, the guy was open. I believe it was Aaron Anderson.
Yeah.
He was open, and Nuss just underthrew the ball. Yeah. The second one was the bad one. The second one, he forced into double coverage. It was just a bad read, got intercepted. You were driving there. There was a chance for LSU to make it a greater lead, but anyways, regardless, you already mentioned Caden Durham, so I won't hit on that much. But holy cow, he's been phenomenal. Imagine if he had another half, like he'd probably be SEC Player of the Week, Offensive Player of the Week. But anyways,
don't they do a Freshman of the Week?
Sure. I think they do. I'm pretty sure.
I haven't seen that he won that. If he didn't, that's absurd.
I'd have to go look.
I'll go look while you talk.
But yeah, I mean, there's not really a whole lot to recap about this game or to go into details about because it really was just a boring game. And I know I hate to say that as an LSU fan, but that's what a lot of us wanted. We've been biting our nails and been stressing out the last, the first 4 weeks of the season. Obviously, the USC game was close. They played a game that was a lot closer than people wanted there against Nichols, with it being really close in the first half. And then what happened? He didn't get it?
Okay. I recant my statement. I get why he didn't get it. I understand why he was not Freshman of the Week.
Who was the Freshman of the Week?
Ryan Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I get it. Okay.
I understand. Yeah, that's kind of obvious. That makes sense. Anyways, been biting our nails almost every game. Obviously, the South Carolina game came down to the last play. Yeah. UCLA, again, kind of similar to Nichols, very close at half. LSU was able to pull away. So, just been a lot of stress that LSU fans have dealt with here in the first month of the football season. And to have this game, it was nice, just to go sit down on the couch and watch LSU dominate and go, okay, now let me flip on over to Alabama, Georgia and see what's going on over there, right? So overall, good win for the Tigers. Very impressed with them. I really liked what they did offensively and defensively. I think the biggest takeaway for me was how would this defense look without Harold Perkins, and I thought they looked good. Can you argue, Reagan, that they might have looked better?
The defense?
Without Harold Perkins.
I mean, I don't want to say it's because Harold Perkins.
That's what that's the question that people want to ask, but they just don't have the guts to ask it.
I'm not saying it's better because he's gone. That doesn't mean it can't improve while he's gone and guys can emerge and it look good. I'm never going to say because Harold is now gone, the defense is better.
Yeah, and I agree with you, but, I had to ask that question because, it's going around right now.
Right, but it looks solid. It looks solid. I'll say that. I mean, Witt has clearly been a great, player, and
you could argue. I would go as far as saying that Witt Weeks has been the second best player on this defense for the entire season so far.
I mean, we can't look past Greg Penn though. I mean, Greg Penn led your team in tackles, with 14 tackles. I think what we need to say is, okay, in the absence of Harold, we needed some guys to step up, and they did. I mean, Witt and Greg, really
both stepped up.
The slack there, yeah. Now, what I wish we could have seen more of that we didn't get to see was West Weeks. West has been battling an injury and hasn't quite got back healthy, and he only played, I think, 4 snaps this past weekend and then took himself out of the game. That's what I want to see is West get healthy, and then how does it look, right? Because Brian Kelly's talked about it several times. We'll run that Buffalo package. Well, when we ran the Buffalo package before, it was Penn, Witt, and Perkins. How does the Buffalo package look now with Witt at the Will, Penn at the Sam, and West at the Mike, right? How does that look with West there? So we'll see with that. I think it's kind of to be determined. But I will say those guys who needed to step up did. And so we'll continue to, monitor that, especially when West gets back. Zach, again, the concern of the safeties, dude, the safety play is just not good. It just hasn't been good. Brian Kelly's been rotating 6 guys, and he made it clear, in his press conference that that's going to change. That's not going to keep happening. They've been rotating guys to figure it out. And, he made it clear in his press conference that come Ole Miss time, that rotation isn't going to, six different safeties aren't going to play in a game against Ole Miss.
Yeah, it's just
right?
too many guys.
So eventually it's going to settle in and we're going to rock with who we rock with. I'm hoping that maybe there will be some consistency when that happens. But it hasn't been fantastic. It just hasn't been that great. Ironically, as many people as crap as they've given him with Sage Ryan. Sage Ryan was one of your best pro football focus rated defenders. Like, I think he was like your second rated defender this past week in this game. And he played safety. Again, as you and I have said, that's kind of where he wants to be, I think. Out of necessity, he played at the corner because he was kind of like your only option for a while. With Zai, hopefully getting back healthy, and he's going through concussion protocol right now. When he gets back, that just is better. It just is better with Sage Ryan at safety, and ultimately, I think Sage is going to be one of the guys back there. Is it Deshaun or is it Jordan Gilbert? Now, I will say I think they'll rotate maybe 3 guys. It just won't be 6. So I don't think you're going to see – I'm not trying to just pick on guys, but I don't think you're going to see Jordan Allen back there as much, or obviously Kylan Jackson. But I think you're going to see a rotation of probably Sage, Deshaun and Jordan is kind of what you're looking at. But it just hasn't been fantastic. So I'm really hoping for some consistency moving into the SEC play when they start, kind of saying, all right, these are the guys we're rolling with. So we'll see with that. That just didn't improve. And I hate to pick on the guy, but, you saw when Major had to go, Major just can't play coverage, man. He just can't. That's why he's going to play that hybrid linebacker safety star role. He just isn't that good in coverage, and we know that. So we're going to have to – we'll see. It's just to be determined with the safety position, and sometimes you just got to go, okay, this is what we got. We got to deal with it. So anyways, that's kind of my thoughts defensively. It was, your DBs aren't horrible. They're not horrible, but they're not great, right? Like, man – the stuff you were seeing in camp about Stamps, you thought like it was going to be like, okay, he's going to be a guy you can really, really trust. And he is a guy they trust, but it's just not what LSU is used to having at DB. It just isn't. He's a good – I think he can continue to grow and improve and become a real solid, starting DB. Right now, there's just still some inconsistencies. It's not perfect. But that's just something you're going to have to live with, I think, Zach. It's just something you're going to have to live with this defensive personnel right now. Honestly, the cavalry is coming, in a sense, with this defensive staff. They're recruiting their tails off. We're playing a bunch of young guys on the defensive line that, like we've talked about, have been impressive and have been, interior defensive line. It hasn't been elite, but it's been good and far better than what we expected. In my opinion, it's better than what we expected, especially in the run game. Although we have allowed those big runs, LSU's run defense has been very solid. Outside of those busted, we
those
didn't
3 busted plays, 2 against South Carolina and the 1 against Nichols.
Correct. The good news is the past 2 weeks, you haven't allowed that big bust. They've corrected those. The longest run against UCLA, I believe, was 17 yards. The longest run against South Alabama was 21 yards. So they had a couple, runs where they got loose, but you didn't allow the big one, right? The big bust where it's a game-changing type play. You can take a hit for 17, 20, right? But you don't need to take a 75-yard quarterback keeping,
up the gut.
66 Raheem and 67-yard from Guggenheimer from Nichols. That's just unacceptable. Like, you can't let that happen. the run defense, aside from that, has been pretty solid in my opinion.
Yeah.
But there's really talented defensive interior linemen coming. Like we've got 4 committed already in this class, right? And then of course we know the DBs. The recruitment has been far better there as well since Corey Raymond's here. So the cavalry's coming. You just got to deal with what you got right now.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll say this: I think that with how LSU is preparing for the future, like it sucks right now. It kind of sucks. But if you think ahead, all these reps and all this experience that guys like Deshaun Spears and Ahmad Bro, like those guys are getting, and even Ashton Stamps, he's only a true sophomore. Like it's only going to make you better next year and the following year. Absolutely. And as you said, the cavalry's coming. So it's just growing pains, right? It's just growing pains. And hopefully these last 5 games have been what you needed to get past those growing pains. It's been like the Tylenol, the ibuprofen to get past those growing pains. So we'll see what happens. You got a lot of time before obviously LSU plays Ole Miss now. You've got all this week. And Brian Kelly said himself, we're not treating this week like a bye week. Like we're treating this week like it's game week, full prep. Obviously, they're going to withhold some guys that are dealing with injury, and obviously CJ Daniels is dealing with a little bit of an injury. Alexander, we expect him back versus Ole Miss, but you're not going to just make him a full go this week. Other guys that are dealing with nagging injuries, obviously Emory Jones has been dealing with an ankle injury, just small stuff like that. Obviously the dislocated toes with Caden Durham.
Yeah.
So, which I fully expected to play against Ole Miss. Like, dude, tape them things up and let's roll, right? I mean, when I stubbed my toe last night, I just had to keep on grinding. Like I had to keep on working.
Yeah.
I was trying to fix a dryer because we finally got my wife, all of her stuff moved in from the house. And what's the first thing that happens? Literally the night that we move the dryer in, it goes out. And I'm trying to fix the dryer, man. Stub my toe, dadgummit. You just gotta grind. You just gotta grind past it, man. So this break's gonna give opportunities for these guys that are dealing with all these nagging injuries to be able to grind and to be able to get fully healthy.
Get healthy.
But let's look at Brandon Reese's comment. He said starting freshman at safety is probably risky, but at this point, I'd rather take that chance compared to having veteran dudes still missing tackles and blowing covers. I'll say this: I think Jordan Gilbert has gotten a lot of criticism, more criticism than he deserves. I don't think Jordan Gilbert's been. I don't think he's been bad. I mean, has he been great? No. Has he been bad? I don't think so. Right? Like we haven't seen Jordan Gilbert just straight up. I mean, I haven't. Reagan, correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen Jordan Gilbert just come up when he's one-on-one with a guy and just completely whiff on a tackle. Like we've seen with Sage or we've seen with Major Burns. Like I haven't seen that or blown coverage. I think Jordan Gilbert has been very serviceable back on the back end.
Yes.
I really feel like it's going to be him and Sage whenever LSU rolls out against Ole Miss with Deshaun Spears filling in on a few snaps. Maybe Jordan Allen filling in a few snaps. So I personally think that Jordan Gilbert has played better than some others would say.
And he got the pick against UCLA too.
Yeah.
Which
it was a bad throw. Yeah, it was a terrible throw. But
the pressure helps with that.
The pressure helps. Any concern that we didn't see a big game from Braden Swinson?
No, I'm not really. Not really. Because I saw a lot more rotation at the defensive end than what we've been seeing. There was a lot more rotating. So I'm not too entirely concerned about that. He's still going to be there, and he's still, I think, going to be a problem for the coming games ahead. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that at all.
Brandon said I meant Burns and Sage Ryan. Yeah, Brandon, and I wasn't saying that you were specifically saying that Jordan Gilbert was bad, but you were talking about the safeties and everything, so it made me think about that. And I feel like Jordan Gilbert has been pretty serviceable back at safety,
and I think he'll be one of the guys that are in the rotation, if not a starter. I think likely you maybe see Sage and Jordan get starts in the SEC, and then
Yeah.
Deshaun will rotate in.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. All right, Reagan. Well, that brings us to our next segment.
Hey,
I think.
real quick.
Go ahead.
Quick, one more thing I wanted to add. Zach, I have loved, he's not a stat stuffer, but I have loved the way we've used Xavier Thomas. Like, the dude, is just a threat to do something at any moment. It just feels like he is a volcano, ready.
Just waiting to erupt.
I'm waiting for the big one to happen.
Hey, Reagan. LSU Ole Miss. LSU Ole Miss.
I want a punt return. I think
Odell Beckham, Billy Cannon. Do we maybe see one with Zay?
I'm telling you, he's been so close.
He's been close.
So close a couple times on breaking a few. And I'm telling you, if he doesn't get tripped up in that USC game, he's taking the opening kickoff of the season to the house.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No question.
He had a lane.
He's a utility player. I really like the way we use him. I just think we use him properly. Yeah. Also, Zach, we have a unique combo that was used this past weekend with the yellow white. I
did like it. I liked it. I liked it.
And I do. It's something different, and I like the way it looks. But I'm going to begin advocating for the yellow, purple, white. We got to see it.
Yellow, purple,
we have the white, we have the yellow, purple, white. But I want to see, the yellow, purple, yellow. I want to see the yellow, purple, white. I posted it on our Twitter, and, recruits put that combo on all the time. It looks good, Zach. I really want to see it on field. I think it would look fantastic.
Maybe I obviously don't think that you're going to see it in any of the major games, but maybe you see it against a team like Vanderbilt, or maybe you see it against a team like, I don't know.
I haven't seen. I'm not expecting them to use
Texas A&M. I don't know.
I just want to see it. I just want to see it.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see if they ever do that. That is definitely a combo that I've been wanting to see myself. So I've seen a lot on Twitter that people want to see a yellow jersey. I think that would look terrible, to be honest.
No,
I think it would look gross.
No yellow jersey.
Just white and purple. So they might go all white. They might do an all white at some point this season. We'll see.
They will. Yeah, we'll probably.
See. Maybe that's what they do against Vanderbilt. I really feel like they're going to do some sort of unique combination against Vandy at home. So I don't think they're going to do it against Bama. They're going to go the classics against Bama for sure.
Probably
against Oklahoma. They might do something against Oklahoma. They might do something against Oklahoma. Last game of the season at home. We'll see. Anyways, Reagan, that does bring us into our next segment, which is the bye week blues. Reagan, I don't know what I'm going to do this Saturday. I guess I'll watch some other football games, but maybe I'll get some work done around the house. Me and you, we've got an event we got to go to Saturday night.
I know one thing you'll be doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's going to be weird. I'll wake up and watch College Game Day, but it's not going to be that feeling of, here we go, it's game day, right?
By the way,
that stressful feeling,
Yeah, speaking of College Game Day, it made me really feel good that Pat McAfee picked South Alabama as his super dog, and we covered. So he gets 0 points for that super dog. Sorry, Pat. I like Pat. I like the energy that he brings College Game Day. But you can't be picking no underdog against LSU like that, and expect me to pull for that. It made me feel good that we he didn't get any points for that. So, anyways.
Brandon Reese said, since LSU isn't playing this week, which SEC game are y'all looking forward to watching? Tennessee versus Arkansas should be interesting. My biggest game that I want to be watching in the SEC this Saturday is going to be Missouri, Texas A&M. I think that's going to be a really good, very close game. Missouri's going to go on the road to Texas A&M. I also want to see what happens with UCF and Florida. What happens if UCF wins and beats Florida? That game should be a really close game. I think it's like a 50-50 coin toss game. What is the spread in the game? Let me see if I can find it real quick. I know that the ESPN analytics
I'm,
has
I'm,
it as basically a coin toss.
I'm gonna tell you
But
one game we're gonna be watching: Ole Miss at South Carolina.
yeah, and definitely Ole Miss at South Carolina.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of games I want to watch, but I think the biggest game that I'm going to be interested in is probably Missouri Texas A&M because I think that's going to be a really really good game, and they're both going to be tightly contested. I'll probably peek in on UCF Florida, laugh my head off if UCF goes into the swamp and wins, and then against Ole Miss South Carolina. I know this is probably goes against what a lot of people would say that they prefer, but I want Ole Miss to win. I want
I
Ole Miss
agree.
to beat South
I
Carolina.
agree.
I want them to because I just have the feeling like if they lose this game, then they're going to come into next week with vengeance. Like we have to win. Like let's go rip somebody's head off. Like I just have a feeling like they're gonna do that. But I hope it's close. I hope it's close. It's physical. I hope it wears them down,
Yes.
but that they win.
Yep.
Right. That way, like they're rolling into LSU like wore out. Like we have played 6 straight ball games. Here's number 7 in a row. Like I
Yep.
want them wore out, tired, and just not completely ready to play LSU. We'll see. We'll see. They may win, beat South Carolina on Saturday, and then they come into Death Valley and they just roll it up on us. I don't know.
Yeah.
The matchup is very scary, and you know we'll talk more about that in the next week. But yeah, I want Ole Miss to win. I know that goes against the grain, but some people say, you know, I'd rather them lose, so they're just completely tore down and feel like the season's over. You could go either way.
Look, I can't lie. I enjoy watching Ole Miss lose. Very
Oh
much.
yeah, 100%.
Thoroughly enjoy it. But I'm right on the page with you there. It helps LSU for Ole Miss to come into that game. You know, it really would have been nice for them to come in there undefeated and we knocked them off top 5.
Yeah.
You know, team in the country. That would be really nice. It kind of takes a little bit away from the game now that Kentucky came in and beat them and in their own stadium. It takes I love it. I absolutely love it. But again, like I said, it does take a little bit off that game. And if they go then and lose to South Carolina, it's kind of like it's not much of a resume building win because you look at it and you go, okay, if LSU wins this game and it's their 3rd straight loss, everybody goes, okay, Ole Miss was just a fraud. They played cupcakes, ran it up on the cupcakes, played real competition, and they're not a good team. They're not a great team. So, like you said, I really want them to go in there, play a hard game, and ultimately pull it out. So,
Brandon Reese said it's a revenge game for LSU either way. 100%.
no doubt.
100%.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be a lot of motivation for this team to beat them, especially all the guys that were there last year and had to suffer the loss in Oxford that as close as it was and as hard fought of a game it was. I mean, we were there. We watched it live, and it was terrible. Being an LSU fan, having to be in that stadium around all those obnoxious Ole Miss fans and having to watch them storm the field, and it was brutal.
And you had what made it worse is you had the game won. You had the game won.
You really did, and you came back. You came back because you were down in the first half.
Correct. You came back
14 points, or maybe 17, something like that.
You were, and you came back, and you had the game won, and you couldn't put it away. Your defense just hurt you, and you could have put it away. If you would have gotten like a first down, I think on the drive before, like you'd run the clock out, it'd been over. But that just really stunk because you had that game won and you didn't put it away. So
yeah, it was a difficult pill to swallow. Reagan, what else are you gonna be doing this? What else are you gonna be other games you're gonna be looking at? I know. Here in the next segment, we're gonna be looking at and discussing the games that happened this past weekend.
Yeah.
But any other games you're looking forward to this upcoming weekend?
Well, Tennessee, Arkansas, as he mentioned, I have actually some friends that are going to that game, and so I hope it's a good game for them. But Zach, on the outside looking on the outside of college football world, October baseball is here. October baseball is here. So, and it's just beginning. So there's going to be lots of playoff baseball going on in the Major League Baseball. It's the best time to watch Major League Baseball by far. And, you know, Zach, I know this may be stupid, but I don't know if you've ever seen Frank the Tank with Barstool Sports.
I don't think I have.
Okay, you. I just can't explain it on here. The Mets are in the playoffs, and so part of me wants the Mets to keep playing in the playoffs so I can continue to watch Frank the Tank react to the Mets in the playoffs.
Oh gosh.
So you need to go, Zach, to Barstool Sports and watch some Frank the Tank videos.
Okay.
I just can't explain it to you. You got to go watch it for yourself. Okay. I can't.
I'll have to check it out.
And when you watch it, you'll go, okay, I see why he can't explain things on here, because I just don't know if I have the appropriate words to say it. But go watch some Frank the Tank stuff, and you'll see it's just hilarious. But aside from that, I am looking forward to watching all the Frank the Tank stuff with the Mets. Frank the Tank's a huge Mets fan, but he's also a miserable Mets fan that just thinks.
I mean,
that thinks the organization will never be revived. It's just funny to watch his meltdowns. And now that they're in the playoffs, it's funny to see him excited about the Mets. So because there's almost never a time when you see Frank the Tank excited about a sports game ever. Almost all of the time he is spazzing out. And anyways, a lot of people probably know what I'm talking about because he's very, very popular. Frank the Tank. But outside of that, the Astros, obviously they dropped the game one tonight against the Tigers. I hate that, but I'll be pulling for the Astros as well. And just, man, Zach, I don't know if you watch October baseball, but I always watch it when it's on. It's a lot more fun. It gives you, to me, outside of October baseball, Major League Baseball is extremely boring. But October baseball is legit because the crowds are there. They're playing for something real meaningful. It gives you that, college baseball type feel where it's every game matters, because it does. So it's exciting, and you see the best of the best.
The level of play steps up. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
I'm not. To be honest with you, Reagan, I'm not a huge Major League Baseball fan. Right.
I knew that.
I don't really care, but I might watch. I might watch a little bit. Of is it called the World Series? See this?
Yeah, it's called the World Series.
I'll probably watch a little bit of the World Series, maybe. That's probably about it. Outside of that, Reagan, in other sports, LSU landed a recruit in basketball today. How about Matt McMahon?
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up, Zach. Look, all you LSU fans that have crapped on Matt McMahon for these few years are going to pay the price. You're going to
cried and cried. We Wade back.
Y'all going to eat crow. Y'all know who you are. Y'all going to eat crow. Matt McMahon's a good coach. He's a good coach. And you have to – I don't understand what's so stinking hard to look at the situation and go, we got to give this guy some time. I don't understand how – what is so hard about understanding that concept? It makes no sense to me. But Matt McMahon privately has been recruiting his tail off all 3 years he's been here.
Yeah.
All 3 years. And has built a great roster for this year. And for the future is building a great program, foundational type of players he's recruiting. He lands Mosley, sorry, not Moses. A 4-star, 6'5", 170-pound shooting guard. Zach, I think he's out of Canada, but he's actually going to play at Montverde. Where all of these elite prospects go and play. He's going to be playing there this season. It's where Curtis Givens played. who's playing for you now. It's where Ben Simmons played. Like, it's one of those academy, D1 prospect pushing type of places, and he's going to play there. It's another top 75 recruit for Matt McMahon. It's literally like his 6th or 7th top 75 recruit that he's pulled in since being at LSU. And people don't realize that he's done that. I mean, Jaden Reed, Tyrell Ward, Corey Chest, Mike Williams, Curtis Givens, Robert Miller, Victorious Miller. Like, the dude has recruited he's been really good recruiting, and just that's been ignored. So I'm glad you brought that up, Zach. Another great recruitment for LSU and the Basketball Tigers. And I'm excited, Zach. Honestly, we're full throttle in football, but I am excited to watch and see what the LSU Tigers can look like this year on the court. And Zach, honestly, I think they can make the tournament. I don't think like they're going to be cutting nets or anything like that in terms of SEC championship or deep run Final Four. But I think this is going to be a really solid team that makes the tournament, and that should be the expectation, right? Like, that should be the expectation. First year, it was bad, right? You just had to put a roster together. Year 2, you improved. You were around 500 in the SEC. You made it to postseason. It was NIT. Okay, let's take the next step. Let's make it to the NCAA tournament. Like, Matt McMahon's building a program. Like it or not, he's building a program. And he went out and made some great coaching hires as well. I'm excited for the Basketball Tigers this year.
Yeah, they're definitely expected to do a lot better. They have this year than they have in the last 2 years, and I agree with you. I think they're going to be a team that is probably one of those teams when you're getting into that postseason, looking at March Madness. They're probably one of those teams that is like outside looking in, or like one of the last 4, like kind of on the bubble, right? I think they're going to be kind of one of those teams where it's going to be kind of biting your nails to see whether or not this team is going to get in. And so hopefully, they are able to make it in this season and give us a little bit of a boost and in this, with this program and with Matt McMahon. And I think, if they're able to make the tournament this year, who knows, maybe win a game or two in the tournament. I think a lot of that conversation about Matt McMahon and how good of a coach he is, and wanting Will Wade back, I think a lot of that will die down if he's able to make the
Hopefully
tournament.
it is dead.
Hopefully. So we'll have to wait and see. But Reagan, let's go ahead and let's take a break, and then when we come back, we can wrap up the show by discussing a couple of the games that happened this weekend. A lot of big games that happened this weekend, some upsets. So we'll be back right after this.
5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU. Go check out all his other music on all the major platforms. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram at Saints Anthem and at Twitter at One Nation Doty. Don't forget to check out his Facebook page for all his Saints and LSU merchandise. Can't get any better than Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Her firm focuses on the needs of the elderly and maintaining their dignity throughout the process. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law.
Right back at it here in the Tigers Avenue to wrap things up. Zach, we had a couple comments more from Brandon there. I think Auburn versus Georgia, he says, will probably be a blowout. I agree. Jay Johnson Jay Johnson, by the way, landed the number 1 recruit out of the state of New Mexico.
Well, speaking of bye week talk, I'll go ahead and say this. I really think LSU baseball is going to make Omaha this upcoming season.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're going to be really good. They're going to be really, really good.
Yeah.
They're not going to be 2023 good, but they're going to be good. Aren't they preseason number 1?
They might be.
Let's go.
Like, you literally turned your entire infield minus Tommy Tanks.
Let's go look at it real quick. I want to say D1 Baseball has released a top 25, an early top 25.
They may have, but they're going to be really stinking good, Zach. They will be a contending team this year. There's no doubt about it.
Maybe they haven't quite yet. But
I don't know if
regardless,
huh?
I said I don't think they have released it yet. I want to say I saw something where somebody had
Well, we had
LSU
the number
releasing-
one transfer class. That's for sure.
Yeah, the arms that you brought in it was just phenomenal. I really think LSU's going to be they're going to have a deep bullpen again this year like they did last year. As you mentioned, they return all their infield. You return 2 out of your outfield. You know, I mean, you technically return 3, but
Jake Brown, Larson, Pearson.
yeah, and you know we'll see what happens with Chris Stanfield if he's able to maybe steal a spot out there. We'll see. You've done a phenomenal job at filling the third base position with Daniel Dickinson. You've got a lot of guys.
Maybe Tanner Reeves. You know, I
maybe
expect to be Daniel Dickinson, but
we'll see.
Tanner Reeves is really good too.
And you have a lot of options at DH, a lot of really good, solid options at DH. So you got to figure out what you're going to do at catcher. Abundance of riches there at catcher. Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be a really, really solid and very deep baseball team. So a little bit of baseball talk, a little bit of basketball talk here in the bye week. But Reagan, we got to discuss this past weekend and what happened in college football. Some big games, obviously. The biggest being the Georgia-Alabama game. We'll start there, and then we'll go to the game that I know me and you want to talk about even more so than the Alabama-Georgia game. Reagan, I thought the Alabama-Georgia game kind of surprising, to be honest.
Dude.
I did not think that Alabama was going to be as good this year. And I think a lot of people kind of unexpected what happened this past Saturday, going up 28-0. You know, that was really, really surprising. And it just goes to show you that Alabama, they're definitely a contending team. I will say this, though. There would have never been a Nick Saban team that gave up a 28-point lead like that. Never.
I don't think so. No.
Never. So, yes, they looked really, really good in the first half.
They did.
But
Georgia clearly made adjustments.
You can already begin to see the lack of having Nick Saban there under the headset. So really insane game. I mean, holy cow, Georgia made it a game there. In the second half, they took a lead with 2 minutes to go, a little over 2 minutes to go. And then Ryan Williams, who you could argue might be the best wide receiver in the country, even though he's a true freshman. You could argue it, I think. I think next
players
in the country. Yeah. I think next year he is without a doubt the best wide receiver in the country. So I mean, just made a phenomenal play. Jalen Miller threw it up, 50-50 ball, you know, go get it. And dude made an insane play, 360, tipped up the ball and took it to the house. And just like that, Bama took the lead back. And then Georgia driving down the field, and Carson Beck just it didn't. I don't understand why he threw the ball, because it didn't work. You did the exact same thing like 2 or 3 plays before that, and it didn't work. And then the coverage was there, and the DB it had already not worked before, and so you've got the same situation happening. Of course, the DB is going to adjust. The DB is going to adjust to the play you just ran 2 or 3 plays before, and exactly that's what happened. DB adjusted, he turned around, located the football, and the game was over.
Yep. I mean, it was. I'll say this: that I did have Bama winning. Like you said, I didn't expect the 28-0 lead. I did not. I think a little bit of that is that Georgia's a tad overrated. Number one. Number two, just the environment kind of consumed Georgia for a minute, and Carson Beck.
Carson Beck was about 3 interceptions, bro. 3.
Right. It can, like that environment affected him greatly. And thankfully, though, you know, Kirby Smart's a great coach, man. He's a phenomenal coach. He composed the team. They fought back. I thought they were going to win it, dude. I really did. And then, like you said, Ryan Williams did what he did. It was unbelievable. Probably the game of the year. game of the year candidate already. Just you never would have expected Georgia to. Number one, you wouldn't have expected that to happen, 28-0, Bama. You wouldn't have expected Georgia to come back from that, take a lead with 2 minutes to go, and then what transpired afterwards. It was just, and then Georgia was driving again, and of course the pick to seal the game. Like it was, I mean, it was
Definitely Carson Beck's worst game as a football.
Oh yeah, I mean, and they still had a chance to win, right? Like, I mean, it was an incredible game. It really, really was. It was fun to watch. Just as a football fan, makes me sick because I can't stand Alabama. I don't want to see the success continue after Saban. I just don't. I can't stand them. I just can't. It makes me sick that, when they got the pick and Jalen Milroe knelt the ball and went back to the end zone and stood there and, gosh, it makes me want to throw up. But nonetheless, it was a good game. That was solid. Zach, the one that I think shocked more than anything was the Ole Miss Kentucky game.
Yeah.
I mean, I will give credit, Zach. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. That Kentucky defense is stinking good.
Yeah, they are really good.
That Kentucky defense is hard-nosed, physical. I mean, sound.
Imagine LSU's offense, this LSU offense, or last year's LSU offense with that Kentucky defense.
It would have been unstoppable.
Yeah,
unstoppable. The technique and the fundamentals of that Kentucky defense is phenomenal.
That's Mark Stoops. That's just Mark
Stoops. Mark Stoops. It is. It is. The offense obviously isn't great, but the offense got it done. Zach, it looked like Ole Miss had won the game. And with 4 minutes left, right, widely criticized. Mark Stoops has been widely criticized this year for him not attempting to go for it on fourth down against Georgia, right? With a couple minutes left, and it was 13-12, and he punted the ball. I think it was like 3 minutes left. He punted the ball. And he was reamed for that. Reamed. I think there was another time he didn't go for it. I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure there was another time. But he's been widely criticized for his, lack of going for it. 4th and 7 with 4 minutes to go.
And you're deep in your territory.
Deep in your own territory. Homie says go route. He says run the go route. And let Vandegrift, of all people, throw it out there.
Yeah, that was wild.
By golly, Zach, they hit it.
Yep.
That was unstinking believable.
Yeah.
I was floored. I was like, what? Literally, the ball was in the air, 4th and 7. I'm going, what are we doing? What are we doing? I'm sitting there thinking, okay, they struggled. Ole Miss struggled against this team. That's a good sign for us. It looks like a more achievable, winnable game. Like, this is literally all going through my mind as he heaves this 4th and 7. I'm going, but Ole Miss is going to win this game. And then what happened. And I'm like, all right.
All right. It's a game.
Zach, and then 1st and goal, they run a QB sneak, like a QB draw or whatever to the left.
Vandegrift gone, Vandegrift.
Well, no, it was that.
The backup. Yeah, you're right.
Stein, it's something. It's Whitstack or something. And every stinking person in the stadium, every time he came in the game, knew he was running the ball. It's all they did with him. Literally every play he came in, he ran the ball. And Buddy gets rocked. The ball pops out and just perfectly falls in the tight end's hands as he falls forward into the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. I was like, what is happening right now?
Reagan, hold on.
What?
Do you hear that? Do you hear that? It's Ole Miss fans. The sky is falling. It wasn't the perfect season that they hoped for. They went all in, and now they have a loss.
Zach, I wanted to give credit where credit was due. I don't want to talk about all Ole Miss, and because Kentucky deserves their credit. That defense was stout. It was fantastic. Really, they played awesome, and that play at the end of the game, 4th and 7, and then the touchdown was just unbelievable. And Jackson Dart had a chance to go and lead his offense to a game-winning drive, and they couldn't do it. Took a sack when he absolutely didn't need to, and they lost. They lost. I mean, he got them within field goal range to tie the game, but ultimately it was a little deep because of the sack he took, and that kicker shanked it, buddy.
Yeah,
I mean, shanked it royally shanked it. He
kind of like that Vanderbilt kick against Missouri.
Oh my gosh, literally, like,
you know what's crazy? I know we're going back a couple weeks, but you know what's crazy about that missed field goal by Vanderbilt is before that dude was nailing everything. He nailed a 50+ yarder in that game, and then just boing. I mean, just
literally, Zach, before Ole Miss's kicker was lining up Caden Davis to kick that kick. It said he was 0 for 1 for game tying field goals to send it to OT or something like that. Like the same situation, he was 0 for 1. And I was like, okay.
Now he's going to make it.
Now he's going to get it, right? Like,
the jinx is
and
real.
It went up, dude. I was like, oh, it got blocked. Brother, it didn't get blocked. It did not get blocked. It was horrendous. It was the shank of all shanks.
Yeah,
I mean, to watch the student section behind that field goal post was the greatest thing. That's the greatest thing ever. I mean, it's, they're up with their little palm.
Yeah.
And it's literally, they kick it. They're all like, oh, dear God. It's immediately like, oh, golly.
Oh, we suck. Oh, no. We suck again.
The reaction was like, all right, we're going to tie it up. Oh, God. The best thing ever. And then Lane Kiffin's post-game interview when he's like, 4th and 7 deep in your own territory. I sure wasn't expecting a go route from Mark Stoops. Oh, I loved every minute of it. I'm sorry.
We need to keep our mouth shut because
we do.
We're going to end up getting destroyed in Baton Rouge.
Jackson Dart's going to shred our second.
Shred us.
But I'm going to
destroy us.
Enjoying it for the time.
They're gonna kill us, or they're gonna put 50 on us, and we're gonna put it's gonna be 31-58 now.
So be it.
Oh yeah, it is a bad match.
Dart doesn't win the Heisman, and they don't win the SEC or win the championship or anything like that. I'll be okay if we.
This isn't about LSU. It's about Ole Miss not being good. It's about Ole Miss not having the success that everybody thought they were going to have. And all these Ole Miss fans oh, bro, this is the year we're going to the Natty, undefeated. We don't play Bama. LSU sucks. Yeah.
Good old.
You didn't even get past little old Kentucky basketball school.
Oh, good old Ole Miss. Yeah. Ole Miss, we love you.
Ole Miss, go Ole Miss. Hey, outside of that, Arizona went into Utah and beat a top 10 Utah team.
That was without Cam Rising. I don't think they did it with Cam Rising though. So little asterisk next to it.
Yeah. Also, Miami, Virginia Tech game. Virginia Tech got robbed.
Bro.
Virginia Tech completely robbed of the win on the road against number 7 Miami.
Unbelievable.
The Hail Mary was caught. Inbounds.
Regardless if you think it was called, if it was not called, I cannot state this enough. to overturn a call, you have to have indisputable video evidence. Indisputable.
Yeah.
That means there is no dispute about it. It's indisputable. It's clear. It's obvious. There was nothing indisputable about that review whatsoever. Play should have stood. It should have been called a stands. I was blown away.
Yeah, that was bad.
Blown away.
Maybe the ACC trying to make sure they get.
Make sure they get a team in.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, they're going to
have
get a team in, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
maybe so. Maybe
we want a undefeated ACC champion in the college football playoff.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, Zach. Well, that is all. There was a lot of crazy games this weekend. It was. Yeah. But that is around college football. Enjoy your bye week, LSU fans. We'll see you next time here on the Tigers Avenue Show. 5-Star Hero, take us out. Peace.
Who that 5-star? Who that 5-star? And the LSU Tigers, LSU Tigers.